Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Alan Brake from St John's Wood Scouts. And this morning, on a beautiful, glorious Easter morning, we're talking about the new badge system. It's really important, quite exciting, because as of the 1st of April, we have a new badge system, out with the old. Don't worry, we've got some transition plans. But the new badge system, I think, is very exciting because it's really good, very simple. It's consistent from Joey's to Rovers, all the way, start at age 5, go to age 25. Everything is similar framework. And we have a new system that allows competency-based assessment of the outdoor adventure skills. So it's really good. Let's get started. First thing to remember is that most of this information is on our website. So let's jump through to that now and have a look. So, if you haven't been to our website before, www.stjohnswoodscouts.org.au, and then in the top, look for information and then badges awards. Cool. Now I'm going to jump onto that website now and we can have a look. So that's where we get to on our website, and you'll see a little introduction here. So the first thing is, people ask, why are we changing the system? Well, the old system was introduced in the 1970s. Life was very different. I was a young youth member at St John's Wood. Things have changed. So the new system focuses very much on one of our core competencies of scouting, that is our leadership skills. So the core milestone badges, the new ones, recognise, participate, assist and lead, and they move the people through those very consistently, and everybody should be earning their milestone awards just by attending and participating and doing some leadership skills as we go along. The special interest badges that were called proficiency badges or achievement badges, they were very prescriptive in the old system. The new ones are much broader. They're much more project focused, so you can pick your own things you want to do amongst 6 different areas. There's also some other general simplification of the system, for example, sections in our units. If you want to read a paper copy, we've got a badge record book. You can see here, jump straight on, onto the website, Scout Shop, $15, audio book, delivered to your door. Cool. So there are some, I'm going to talk a little bit later about transitioning from the old scheme to the new scheme. But don't worry, we've got a golden rule that no one will be disadvantaged. But for most scouts and Cub Scouts, they'll be better off finishing off their boomerang if they're close and then moving on to the new scheme. All right, let's get going. Now, if you are a bit of if you're concerned about this, I won't mind if you go and get yourself a pair of dark sunglasses and just listen along. Or if you're a bit more of I'd rather read and understand, then all the information is on this website. You can follow through with me now. Cool. So you might think, well, the badge system's changing. What else is changing? Well, the good news is that all the things we love about scouting are staying the same. We're still going to be mainly outdoor based, learning by doing, learning in small groups. We've still got the patrol system. We have the symbolic framework, all our badges and ceremonies. All that sort of thing is staying the same. So if you want to explore all those and how the whole program of scouting fits together, this is a fantastic poster. You might remember we've got one up on the den wall you can have a look at. But if not, since we can't get to the den during Corona time, you can jump onto the website down here. Oops, it must be linked behind this poster. And on that page, here it is up here, on that page there's a great set of slides. So each one of these elements, such as the adventurous journey, or in fact you start off with the introduction to section and introduction to scouting. They're all individual slides explained in the system. So if you want to get a good overview of how the Scout program works, that's a great place to start with. Assuming we know pretty well how all that works, let's get going. So here's the new badge system. And you'll see that, in fact, it's now called a personal progression framework. So a new terminology that we'll have to get used to. So first of all, it encourages and acknowledges the personal growth of the individual scouts. The first badge that everyone will do coming into the scout movement will be the introduction to scouting. You'll do it once. If you join in Joey's, that's it, done. If you join in Rovers at age 20, you'll do one then. And the next one then is an introduction to the scout section, or could be the Joey section or cup section, adventurous. There's a badge, looks a bit like the link badge. Basically covers all those areas you need to know about that particular section. And then we have the milestones, 3 milestones. They are based on, basically it's similar to the boomerang at the moment, or the award, the cords. And they basically acknowledge attending and participating actively, helping to assist and plan, lead different activities, whether we're at the scout den practicing or out on camp or canoeing or whatever else we might do. You'll be getting recognised for that progression you make and the leadership you do there. They then, at the same time, will also be working on the outdoor adventure skills. So that's a new competency-based framework. Some of you already have those badges that last from Joey's to Rovers. It goes all the way from very simple, how to strike a match, for example, to running, multi-day overseas camps, for example, in the camping stream. So there are 9 streams. We'll get to them in a moment. And there are 9 stages. So there's plenty of variety for everyone. And then we have these special interest areas in 6 areas that allow you to, by yourself or with a project patrol, to get on and explore different areas in some detail at your own choice. And then if you're aiming for the peak award, you have 3 other elements. One is an adventurous journey, one is a leadership course, and then there's a personal reflection. Overall, that's called the personal progression framework. Now, we mentioned all these requirements. They are detailed in 2 books that everybody should now go and buy from the Scout shop. There's the record books. Just don't be confused. They're also guide books on the website, but the record books is the one you want. It's got all the details plus area to record your progress. The guidebooks are really designed for the future app, which is being developed quickly, but it's not yet available. So buy the record book. So that covers most of the areas, but the OAS, remember the outdoor adventure skills, covers everybody from Joey's through to Rovers. So there's one common booklet that covers everybody, no matter what your age. So you need to buy that one as well. Or for the OAS only, if you want, we have a short form book that will cover the younger sections. Click through these links and you should be able to get it. Here we go. That's the books that we should order from the Scout shop. So Scout shop, and you can see click through, make sure you get the record books, and then not these guides, don't buy the guides. And then at the bottom, there's the OAS book. Now for the OAS, the other requirement you will need is a logbook. Logbook's very important because the OAS is competency-based, so you have to be able to have demonstrated that you could light a match or ride a push bike or abseil down the cliff, and you do that by having peers or assessors sign your logbook or recorded them who they were, so we could check that. And so everybody needs to download a logbook like this. There's several examples on the website, but this is the one I use. And for every activity that you do that's outdoors, we write that in. Oops. Right, now I'm going to take a little sidetrack and talk about challenge areas. Challenges are very important because the next thing you can see on the screen is milestones. Challenge areas feed into the milestones. So all Scout programs should be adventurous and fun, challenging, learning for everyone. So, and we do want to make sure that all our youth are enjoying things in a broad variety of areas, and the challenge areas will allow us to do that. So when we are programming, we being either the scouts or the adults, are programming for activities, we want to categorize those or select ones from different areas so that we're not doing all the same thing and concentrating too much on one without getting the breadth. So these are the 4 challenge areas: community, outdoors, creative, and personal growth. And that we should be doing about an equal number of activities in each one of these areas. So we'll jump through now. If you remember those 4 areas, 4 challenge areas, because that'll be important in milestones. So milestones are the new main badges we have that recognise learning leadership skills by doing, participating, and assisting. So when you're starting off in a section, the thing you need to learn first is, of course, how to be a good team player, how to be an active member of your patrol, participate, contribute ideas. But once the decision is made by the patrol leader, to follow that as best you can. So that is milestone 1. Milestone 1, you have 24 participates from each of the challenge areas in an equal weighting, so 6 from each challenge area. So you can see 24, that's should be able to comfortably do that within 1 year. 2 assists and 1 lead. And then for milestone 2, you'll notice we go to somewhat less participates, but more assists and leads. Assists and leads are going to be more challenging, more difficult. So the effort to achieve the badge is getting harder as you go up from milestone 1 to milestone 2, milestone 3. But any scout that is an active member of our scout group should be able to get milestone 1, 2, and 3. You can see the cool new badges. Now you might be thinking, what does assist and lead mean? Participate's obvious, but assist and lead mean, and how does that work for the different sections? Well, the details are all in the record book that you'll buy, but we have got here a summary if you want to look right now on a Google Doc. So you can see under Joey's, assist might be assist with a game or small activity, but if we scroll through, cups might be include some planning, and then lead an activity or a larger game, both including planning and reviewing. Scouts, of course, when they're getting to be 14, might be a whole unit night or camp that they would have to run. And then if you go through adventurers and rovers, you'll see that rovers, for example, leading is organising a multiple challenge area event. So when you're 18 or 20, that's the challenge for you. And it could be a large scale event, like maybe 100 people or more. So it's fantastically challenging, from starting off with a Joey, where you go from just assisting with a small game to running multi-day events. So let's talk a little bit about the plan, do, review cycle. So you see all those leadership activities have to require a plan, do, review. So that's the way we do scout activities. It's very common in society as well, but we have a very simple system. So every one time when you do a lead, you'll be doing the plan, do, review. You'll be assisting in the planning or doing the planning. You actually then do the activity or the game, and then at the end we review it and see both how the game went, how the participants acted, what you could learn before you go and do the next time. Cool. We have a set of cards and a set of statements developed by the Scout movement to make that really simple, so that even 5- and 6-year-old Joeys up to 25-year-old Rovers can learn by that review process. So to help all this, and particularly since we're in Corona time, we at St John's Wood have implemented and deployed this Google Classroom. So every Scout member at St John's Wood is a member of the classroom, and that will help with recording the activities and assist in planning and reviewing these activities that we'll be doing over the next period until we can get back to face-to-face. In fact, it's such a good system that I think even once we get back to our traditional scouting, that we'll be continuing to use this, particularly for our special interest area badges and our outdoor adventure skill badges, and for the assist and lead parts of the program. Let me show you a little bit about that now. So to get into Classroom, everybody will be generated an email at the stjohnswoodscouts.org.au domain, which is your member number. So if you don't know your member number, ask one of your leaders. They will send it to you together with the password to log on. And the first thing you need to do once you log on through Google is to look at your Gmail and your inbox. I've got no mail, but if I looked in the all mail, I would see a number of things, including the invitations to the classrooms. So jump into those invitations, accept the invitations, and then you'll be in the classroom, and everybody in the Scout group will be in this classroom. You might have other classrooms, but this outdoor adventure skills, you'll be in this classroom. So, and if you jump into the stream, includes a little chat between the members and the leaders. I won't show you that today because obviously that's got stuff in it. But the classwork, you can see if you jump into the classwork, most of them will have this reference area, which includes some important documents you need to be aware of before you start. And then we'll progressively add elements in here, which in Google Classroom terminology are assignments, but for us they're badges. So the outdoor adventure skills cycling stream, for example, stage 1 includes going for a bike ride for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, as well as planning how to do that safely. And then a review at the end of what you enjoyed and what you learned. Cool, so everybody jump on when you can and have a look in Classroom. So we're going back to the website now. I'm just going to have to go click. And here we are. So the next element of the badge system we haven't talked about yet is the special interest areas. So there are 6 areas there that we divide anything we do into, and it's effectively a project-based scheme where the Scouts either individually or as a small project patrol decide to do on some worthwhile activity within one of those streams, and then they do a plan, do review. So they plan what they need to do, they talk to a leader or the unit council about that, and then they do the work, and then they produce something and they come back and do a review. And then if the standard is satisfactory, then they'll get the badge. If the standard's not satisfactory, the unit council or the adult leader might go and say what they need to do to bring it up to scratch. Okay, there's a lot of information on the main Queensland Scouts site about the special interest areas. But for you, the thing to do is to jump into the Classroom. Each section, or particularly the Cubs and the Scouts, have a classroom for special interest areas. There's an excellent planning sheet there where you can go through and look at what you might want to do, keeping in mind these areas that you need to work within, and come up with some ideas and talk to a leader about it. Rightio, next is outdoor adventure skills. So this is an exciting new one. The first time we've had a badge system that runs all the way from Joey's at age 5 to Rovers at age 25. It's competency based, so if we're talking about canoeing, then you might start off with how to safely get a life jacket in and go into a canoe for a ride where you're just participating until you can go through and captain the boat yourself, and then you can take charge of other Scouts and teach them, and then maybe do at the end a multi-day whitewater rafting journey. So it's fantastically flexible, very challenging. The key things to remember is that it is competency based, so to get the sign off for those competencies, you need to go and find a youth member or an adult that is competent already in the area that can sign you off. So normally that would be a youth member in the next section. So if you're in Cubs, you'd normally have to find a Scout, and we'll help you with that has those skills that can sign you off. That's called using a 2-up system. So if you're working on stage 3, you'll need to find somebody, a youth member that's already got the stage 5, that's 2-up. Okay, if you want to, you can buy the book directly. That's a great idea. If not, we have created a short form which covers the early stages, so that will probably be satisfactory for Joey's Cubs and Scouts. That's an interim measure until we have the digital app available. That's this side. And on this side is the introduction to the outdoor adventure skills, just how the progression works, how to find an assessor, how to do the plan, do review, all in that little extract here. Cool. So you might be thinking how we move to the new scheme. If I'm on the current scheme at the moment, what should I do? So first of all, if you're in Cubs and Scouts, and that's mainly where we're talking to, if you are close to achieving a boomerang or a cord, then I'd recommend you work hard, finish that off over the next few months and get that cord or boomerang. And then there's an equivalence which says that if you're on a silver boomerang, you'll go to milestone 2. If you're on an Explorer cord, you'll go to milestone 2 in the Scout section. And similarly, so jump on and do that. If you've only just joined the section or you haven't done much on the old scheme towards the next cord or boomerang, I suggest you jump over straight away, get onto the new system and get going. If you want to keep on the old scheme, you can until December 2022, which should be plenty enough time for any Cub and Scout to finish their system. If you're just joining the new section, then you need to be on the new system. So the other important thing is the special interest areas or the challenge badges. You can use those interchangeably now, so that if you are still going to complete your badge on the old scheme, but you want to do an SIA with Project Patrol, that's fine, you can do that, and that will count as an achievement badge or a proficiency badge towards the old scheme. So there is an online mapping tool, but it pretty well is as I've just described. But if you want to, you can jump onto this online mapping tool on the Scouts Queensland website. It will talk you through the SIAs and milestones, and you can punch in your current progress with your old scheme, and it will tell you the new equivalents. One thing to note though, the OAS does not have a mapping scheme because it is a completely new structure, so there's no real old equivalences. However, for a short time, and we don't know when this might finish, but for a short time, we can recognise your prior learning, your prior skills, and map you into the new OAS system. So we've done that for the Rovers, Venturers, and the older Scouts. We'll gradually move that through to the younger Scouts and Cubs. So if you're interested in that, make sure you let one of the adult leaders know so we can schedule you to do that before time runs out. So, and of course we have a new badge placement chart. So that brings us to the end of the session today. I hope you've enjoyed it. There's probably some questions you have. That's okay. You can jump on and ask them in the chat in the YouTube, or maybe better if it's a little bit personal, to jump onto Classroom, or get your parents to jump onto the Messenger chat. Ask one of the leader groups there. Okay. So continue scouting. These are difficult times, but very exciting with the new badge system. I think it's a fantastic thing. So looking forward to seeing everyone make some great progress in their personal progression framework. Thanks everyone, and have a great Easter.